It is not often that an ancient inscription on a piece of clay comes to light in perfect condition. So this tablet. Scientists have just used powerful AI to translate ancient Sumerian texts for the first time, and what they found has everyone talking. Hidden for thousands of years, these writings reveal secrets that could change what we know about early civilization, and some of it sounds deeply troubling. Join us as we uncover the truth behind this mystery. The forgotten warnings of the Sumerians. The Sumerians did not simply tell stories about their gods, kings, or ancient glories. They left messages that seemed to whisper warnings across time. On clay tablets, they recorded not just events, but patterns that repeated through the ages. To them, the world moved in cycles. Times of peace, abundance, and progress followed by sudden collapse and sorrow before life slowly bloomed again. Their view of history was not one long journey forward, but a loop turning endlessly under the watch of unseen forces. These early people were devoted watchers of the skies. They studied stars and planets, believing that whatever happened above shaped everything below. Their star charts and writings were more than myths. They were maps of destiny. And today, modern artificial intelligence has begun uncovering curious connections between those ancient records and what science now understands about the planet's past. It seems the Sumerians may have noticed real events that reshaped human life. Massive climate shifts, droughts, and disasters that marked the end of great civilizations. One of these catastrophes occurred around 4,200 years ago. A severe drought brought hunger, forced migrations, and the fall of the mighty Akkadian Empire. Scientists have since found physical evidence of this tragedy in the earth itself, traces of dust, dried riverbeds, and frozen layers that tell the same grim story. Yet, the Sumerian version is far more haunting. They spoke of skies burning red, the sun dimming, rivers reversing, and stars behaving like hunters over the world. For centuries, historians dismissed these words as symbolic tales or exaggerations, but new technology suggests they may have described real astronomical changes, solar storms, meteor activity, or cosmic shifts that disturb the planet. However, this wasn't the only thing the Sumerians left us. The Sumerian secret of human beginnings. The Sumerians told a story of human creation that feels unlike any other. It was not a tale of slow evolution or random change, but of something sudden, divine, and purposeful. In their ancient writings, they described how humanity's rise did not come from chance or time alone, but from guidance by powerful beings from beyond the sky. Their story blended faith, mystery, and wisdom into one breathtaking vision of how life on Earth truly began. While science teaches that humans evolved over millions of years, with fossils like Lucy showing the long path from early ancestors to modern people, the Sumerians believed that a great event changed everything in an instant. They wrote about the Anunnaki, a group of mighty gods who descended from the heavens to shape the world and create humankind. These divine visitors, according to the tablets, transformed early humans through a special act that made them capable of thought, language, and creativity. From that moment, people became unlike any other living thing. The proof of this transformation they believed could be seen in the rise of their civilization. In places like Uruk, Eridu, and the earliest cities grew with incredible speed. Within a short time, the Sumerians built strong communities, created laws, developed irrigation, and invented the wheel. They also gave the world its first known writing system, Kuni. To them, this sudden burst of brilliance was not the result of slow progress, but of divine teaching. Each god in their belief system had a personality, a purpose, and even emotions. They could love, argue, and make mistakes. Just like the humans, they ruled over some of their stories, described how these gods mixed their essence with that of early people, forming a new kind of being, human, beings with intelligence beyond the natural world. For generations, experts have tried to understand what the Sumerians truly meant by these tales. Samuel Noah Kramer, a leading translator of their writings, believed they were poetic myths, expressions of wonder, imagination rather than literal truth. Yet others, like Zechariah Sitchin, offered a bold interpretation. He suggested that the Anunnaki were not imaginary gods at all, but advanced beings from another planet who shared their knowledge with early humans. When we look at the scale of Sumerian achievement, that idea becomes strangely compelling. Their temples were built with astonishing accuracy. They understood astronomy with precision, predicting celestial events long before modern tools existed. Their mathematics was complex, and their art showed awareness of the stars and planets. It seems almost unbelievable that a people living thousands of years ago could have known so much so soon. Modern genetics shows that humans shared DNA with ancient species like Neanderthals, revealing that mixing between early groups did occur. Now, let's take a look at how the creation story started. The hidden dawn of civilization. What if the story of how humanity began was not quite as we were taught? Long before maps, kingdoms, or written history, extraordinary culture rose in the cradle of the Middle East, between two powerful rivers that still flow today, the Tigris and the Euphrates. In this fertile land, in what is now Iraq, a people appeared who seemed to come from nowhere, bringing with them wisdom far beyond their time. They called themselves the black-headed people, but the world now knows them by another name, the Sumerians. Their rise was unlike anything the world had seen. While most ancient societies grew slowly from generations of farming and trading, the Sumerians seemed to burst into history with astonishing speed. Villages became cities, and cities became kingdoms that glittered under the desert sun. Places like Eridu, Uruk, and Ur were not mere settlements. They were the beating heart of humanity's first true civilization. And surprisingly, all of this began with something as humble as mud. The Sumerians saw mud not as useless soil, but as the very substance of creation. They shaped it into sturdy bricks to raise their great temples and homes. They molded it into bowls, jars, and tools that filled their bustling markets. But their most meaningful use of clay came when they pressed small marks into wet tablets. From those impressions was born the first writing system, cuneiform. With it they captured every part of life: trade, records, laws, songs, prayers, and dreams. It was humanity's first memory, written in stone, a voice that would never fade. Through these writings, the Sumerians built the foundations of a world that still shapes our lives. Their mathematical brilliance lives on in our time system. 60 seconds in a minute, 60 minutes in an hour, and 360 degrees in a circle. This idea, created thousands of years ago, still guides every clock and compass we use today. They were the first to bring order to numbers, time, and the heavens. As more clay tablets were uncovered over the centuries, archaeologists realized the Sumerians had left far more than lists of goods. Hidden among trade accounts and temple records were traces of deep scientific and spiritual understanding, notes on stars, strange healing practices, and fragments of knowledge that seemed far beyond their age. It became clear that the Sumerians were not only farmers or builders, they were thinkers, dreamers, and observers of the cosmos. For a long time, understanding their messages was nearly impossible. Each tablet held hundreds of symbols, and each sign could carry many meanings. Decoding them demanded decades of study. Only a small number of scholars could truly read the ancient language. But then technology changed everything. In Germany, researchers began using artificial intelligence to piece together shattered tablets. Like solving the oldest puzzle on Earth, the system learned how to recognize patterns, handwriting, and styles from different eras. By the year 2023, a new kind of translator was born. In Israel, scientists developed an AI capable of reading ancient Akkadian, the language used on many Sumerian tablets, and turning it into English almost instantly. What once years could now be done in a few hours. The voices of the Sumerians were finally being heard again. Not long after, new discoveries began to surface. Archaeologists in northern Iraq uncovered nearly intact tablets from around 4,000 years ago. They were so well preserved that even the fine marks remained visible. These were not simple texts. They appeared to have been copied from much older originals, possibly reaching back to the very beginning of civilization. At another site in the ruins of ancient Gyarsu, more than 200 complete clay tablets were found along with dozens of engraved seals. They had been carefully stored in protective containers lined with bumunumen, keeping them safe through centuries of dust and rain. As technology continued to advance, experts realized that tablets contained hidden meanings missed by earlier translators. AI programs trained by European universities began revealing subtle expressions, idioms, and technical terms that reshaped the way we understood Sumerian life. The results were breathtaking. Those cryptic astronomical records once thought to be myths turned out to be detailed observations of the heavens. The Sumerians tracked the paths of planets, solar movements, and even the slow wobble of Earth itself, a phenomenon now known as precession. Somehow, these ancient people had charted cosmic cycles that spanned tens of thousands of years. Their insight extended beyond the stars. In their writings about medicine, they described how to clean wounds, prevent infections, and measure the heartbeat. Some texts even hinted that physical traits were passed down through families, a concept that would not be scientifically proven until modern times. It was as if they possessed fragments of future knowledge preserved in the lines of clay. Among these discoveries came something even more puzzling. Some tablets spoke of metal jars filled with liquids that produced a strange glow or current. The descriptions match the design of the famous Baghdad battery, an artifact that appears capable of generating small amounts of electricity. Could it be that the Sumerians had accidentally stumbled upon the secrets of energy thousands of years before modern science? Whether by curiosity or experiment, their writings captured something far ahead of their time. But their legacy also carried shadows. Within their records were warnings about objects described as burning stones, substances that scorched the earth and poisoned fields, forcing people to bury them deep underground. Modern scientists have discovered patches of natural desert glass formed by extreme heat, possibly from meteor strikes or powerful explosions. But how did these writings emerge and why? The beginning of civilization's script. Long before books, pens, and paper existed, the first traces of human writing began in the dusty lands of Mesopotamia. In those early days, people did not yet write words as we know them. Instead, they made tiny marks or small pictures on wet clay. These symbols were not stories or letters. They were simple records used to count and trade. Farmers and merchants used these marks to keep track of what they owned: sheep, jars of grain, or loaves of bread. Sometimes they used little clay tokens to show numbers. These tokens were pressed into soft clay or carved onto stone, wood, or pottery. It was a clever way to remember what they had exchanged. As people learned to farm and began settling in villages, their lives changed. The simple act of planting seeds and harvesting crops brought them stability. And with that came trade. Villages grew into towns and markets became busier with farmers, craftsmen, and traders. Keeping track of all this activity required a better system. The small marks that once counted goods slowly turned into a language of their own. From around 9000 BCE to about 30,000 BCE, people used clay tokens and early markings to record their daily lives. Without realizing it, they were creating the foundation for the first true form of writing. Over time, the tokens were replaced by clay tablets. Skilled workers known as scribes were trained to write using special tools called styluses, sharp instruments that left neat impressions on the soft surface of the clay. Once dried, these tablets became strong and permanent, preserving every mark. The earliest tablets came in many colors: off-white, gray, and brown. Each one a small piece of living history. Around 4000 BCE, drawings known as pictographs began to appear. Each symbol stood for an object, idea, or activity. A drawing of a fish meant fish, while a symbol of grain meant barley. But as language grew more complex, the Sumerians realized they needed a faster and more flexible system. Their simple pictures gradually turned into abstract wedge-shaped impressions. This new style of writing was called cuneiform, meaning wedge writing. By about 2500 BCE, cuneiform had developed into a fully written language. The marks no longer stood only for objects. They represented sounds, syllables, and words. For the first time, people could record stories, songs, and laws in their spoken language. Writing was no longer just about counting goods. It had become a way to express thought and preserve knowledge. Meanwhile, far away in Egypt, another kind of writing appeared: hieroglyphs. These beautiful and detailed symbols also told stories of kings, gods, and daily life. Many of their signs resembled the world around them, just as the Sumerian symbols once had. Interestingly, some of these ancient forms of writing even look like early versions of modern Chinese characters. But how did the Nibiru connect with the Sumerians, the sky gods of Sumer and the mystery of Nibiru? Long before modern civilizations rose from the sands of history, the people of ancient Sumer looked up to the heavens and believed their lives were shaped by divine forces. Their world was ruled by gods who controlled every part of existence, the earth beneath their feet, the wind in the air, and the stars above. Among these mighty deities was a great god of the sky. He reigned as the highest of all, and was said to have united with Ki, the goddess of the earth. From their bond came a family of powerful children, known as the Anunnaki, the children of An. These beings, radiant and wise, were believed to govern both the heavens and the human world. The Anunnaki were unlike any other gods in ancient tales. Each had distinct strengths, duties, and roles. The eldest, Enlil, ruled the air and was said to have shaped the very balance of creation. Before his arrival, the heavens and the earth were bound together. His birth brought separation. The sky was lifted high for An, while Enlil took dominion over the earth below. This act of division brought order to chaos and allowed life to flourish across the land. Though the Anunnaki often appeared together in Sumerian stories and songs, they were rarely worshipped as one. Every god had their sacred city, temple, and rituals, all maintained by devoted priests and followers. No great temple or carving ever depicted the full family of gods gathered together. Yet their presence was deeply felt in every part of Sumerian life. The people imagined the Anunnaki as majestic and human-like, but far grander in form. They were tall, graceful, and shone with a divine brilliance. They dressed in flowing, luminous robes and wore horned crowns, their number of horns showing their level of power. Around them glowed a sacred light called Milam, an aura so bright that anyone who saw it trembled with awe. The Sumerians believed that even a glimpse of this holy radiance could fill a mortal with both wonder and fear. Although the gods lived in the sky, they were thought to walk among humans as well. Their essence was present in their statues, which priests treated as living beings. These images were washed, clothed, and offered food daily. Temples were built as their earthly homes, filled with incense, music, and offerings. During great festivals, these statues were paraded through city streets while people sang praises and danced in celebration. The Sumerians believed that these acts of devotion kept the bond between heaven and earth strong. In their stories, the Anunnaki gathered in great celestial councils, just as human kings held meetings to rule their cities. They discussed the fate of nations, the flow of rivers, and the balance of creation itself. Even among the divine, there was structure, duty, and hierarchy, a reflection of how the Sumerians viewed their society. Some ancient writings suggested that these gods might not have been mere symbols of nature, but real beings who came from beyond the sky. The tablets spoke of a distant world called Nibiru, a heavenly realm from which the Anunnaki descended to earth. Their arrival, according to Sumerian records, took place hundreds of thousands of years ago. The term Anunnaki was said to mean those who came from heaven to earth. Anu was their supreme leader, while Enlil ruled the air and land, and Enki, the god of water and wisdom, guided and taught humanity. Thousands of years later, this story gained new attention through the writings of Zecharia Sitchin, who published The 12th Planet in 1976. He reinterpreted the Sumerian texts, proposing that Nibiru was not a mythical place, but a real planet orbiting the sun in a long elliptical path, returning near Earth every 3,600 years. According to his theory, the inhabitants of Nibiru, the Anunnaki, came to Earth in search of gold to repair their damaged atmosphere. The metal, he claimed, could be ground into fine particles to reflect sunlight and protect their world from destruction. Gold has always been a symbol of beauty and wealth, but it also possesses remarkable properties. It reflects light, resists corrosion, and conducts electricity, making it valuable even in modern technology. Spacecraft, satellites, and telescopes, including the James Webb Space Telescope, use gold coatings to manage heat and light. Thousands of years ago, the Sumerians considered gold sacred. Archaeologist Leonard Woolley's excavations in the royal tombs of Ur during the 1920s uncovered golden crowns, jewelry, and ornaments, showing how deeply the Sumerians cherished this shining metal. Ancient Sumerian tablets also told of a place called Abzu, a deep and hidden realm beneath the earth associated with Enki. It was said that the gods searched there for gold. In one of their oldest stories, the Atrasis epic, the Anunnaki grew weary of mining and rebelled against their endless labor. To solve this, Enki proposed creating a new being to take their place. He mixed divine essence with the clay of the earth and formed the first humans known as the Lulu. These beings were made to serve the gods, performing the work they no longer wished to do. The story bears a striking resemblance to later creation stories and even mirrors ideas that sound similar to modern discussions of biological design. Some historians believe these ancient accounts were ways to explain the mysteries of existence, while others suggest they may have been memories of real encounters passed down through generations. Descriptions of cities like Eridu and the underground world of Abzu still spark curiosity among scholars and archaeologists. In recent years, the possibility of an unseen planet beyond Neptune has reignited interest in the old Sumerian legends. In 2016, scientists at Caltech announced evidence of a large hidden planet in the outer solar system, one perhaps 10 times larger than Earth. However, what was the truth behind the Sumerian king list? Keep on watching to find out more. The mystery of the Sumerian king list. Among the many treasures of ancient Mesopotamia, one of the most mysterious is the Sumerian king list, an ancient tablet that records the names of rulers and the lengths of their reigns. Yet, this is no ordinary record of kings. The list begins with rulers whose reigns stretch beyond imagination. The first king, Alulim, was said to have ruled for more than 28,000 years, while his successor, Dumuzid, supposedly ruled for 36,000. Even later, kings were said to have ruled for hundreds of years. These lifespans sound impossible, leaving historians to wonder what the Sumerians truly meant. Many scholars believe these numbers were never meant to be taken literally. Instead, they may have symbolized greatness, holiness, or the closeness of a ruler to the gods. The longer a king's reign, the more divine his power seemed. In the eyes of the Sumerians, time was not only measured in years, but also in the weight of divine favor. Yet, not everyone agrees with this idea. Some think these rulers may not have been entirely human. According to ancient myths, beings known as the Anunnaki once descended from the heavens, and many wonder if the earliest kings might have been their descendants, a blend of human and divine blood. Archaeology has added more mystery to this theory. In the ruins of the ancient city of the tomb of Queen Puabi was uncovered, dating back to around 2,600 years before Christ. When scientists studied her remains, they found her skull to be oddly shaped, long and narrow, but not in the way caused by head-binding practices seen in other cultures. It appeared to have grown that way naturally. Even more astonishing, some skeletons found near her tomb were said to be extremely tall, some possibly reaching over 7 feet. For a time when most people were quite short, this was extraordinary. Were these just rare human traits or signs of something more unusual? Perhaps beings unlike any known before? The Sumerians themselves placed great importance on royal ancestry. Their tablets often mentioned the seed of Anu, referring to a divine lineage that was believed to run through chosen families. To them, kingship was a sacred duty passed down from the heavens. They guarded this divine connection carefully through rituals and marriage laws meant to preserve their celestial heritage. Power to the Sumerians was not just inherited. It was born from the gods themselves. This belief was not unique to Sumer. Across ancient cultures, rulers linked themselves to divine origins. In Egypt, the pharaohs called themselves children of Ra, the sun god. The Inca rulers in South America claimed they were born from the sun. Even in distant Tibet, the Dalai Lama was seen as the rebirth of a holy being. Yet, the Sumerians were among the first to write these ideas down, preserving them for thousands of years. Understanding their writings, however, is not simple. The Sumerian language is layered with meanings, and a single word could describe several things at once. One such word, mi, could mean a divine rule, a spiritual principle, or even an object of great power. This has caused endless debate over how to interpret their texts. In modern times, some writers offered bold theories. Zechariah Sitchin, for example, claimed the tablets described advanced visitors from another planet and pointed to a tablet he believed showed a map of the solar system. Later experts, however, disproved his claims, showing the symbols were not planets at all, a universe written in clay. Long before modern religions and mighty empires rose, the Sumerians built a divine universe where gods ruled every part of existence. Though the Anunnaki are the most famous, they were only a fraction of a vast celestial family. To the people of Sumer, every gust of wind, every drop of rain, and every flicker of light was guided by unseen hands, powerful beings who shaped creation, chaos, and destiny. At the center of this spiritual order stood Enlil, the god of air and authority. His power was said to be so immense that even other gods feared him from his grand temple Ekkur in the sacred city of Nippur. Enlil ruled with justice and discipline. He was not only the god of the skies, but also the one who separated heaven from earth, creating the space where life could thrive. His breath stirred the winds, marked the rhythm of time, and bound all living things to divine order. Yet while Enlil represented structure and control, his brother Enki embodied creativity and curiosity. Enki, the god of water and wisdom, was both a teacher and a trickster. He used intelligence to solve problems the gods could not, and was known for shaping humanity's destiny through knowledge. The rivers and oceans carried his voice, whispering wisdom to humankind. He gave people thought, creativity, and skill, gifts that set them apart from beasts. Beside him stood his sister, Gatamdu, the goddess of healing and renewal. Though less celebrated, she was deeply loved by families and mothers who prayed to her for protection during childbirth and illness. She symbolized compassion and the strength that restores life. Among them shone Inanna, the radiant goddess of love, war, and power. She embodied contradiction, gentle yet fierce, beautiful yet unstoppable. Her symbol, the eight-pointed star, reflected her fire and ambition. In her most famous tale, she dared to descend into the underworld to seize her sister's throne, facing death itself before rising again. Her resurrection became a symbol of life's eternal cycle, mirroring the seasons as darkness gave way to light. The Sumerians also worshipped Utu, the god of the sun, who brought light and justice to the world. His blazing journey across the sky revealed truth and exposed deceit. Every day, his light renewed order among humans. His sister, Nanna, the goddess of the moon, ruled the night with serenity. Her soft glow guided travelers and marked the passing of time. Among her most devoted followers was Enheduanna, the first known female writer in history. As Nanna's high priestess, Enheduanna wrote hymns that shaped early literature and proved that women's voices held divine power. Hidden within these sacred stories was Ninmah, the goddess of creation and wisdom. Often portrayed as a scribe or caretaker of divine knowledge, she guarded secrets written on celestial tablets. She assisted in the birth of humankind and healed both body and spirit. Though her name faded over the centuries, her influence endured in tales of balance, knowledge, and renewal. Above all, God stood An and Ki, the father of the heavens and the mother of the earth. Their union birthed Enlil and the generations of deities who governed existence. Together, they symbolized harmony, the sacred bond between sky and soil, heaven and life. Through them, the Sumerians saw the universe as one vast family bound by eternal order. Among their many myths, one tale burned brightest, the legend of Anzu, the divine bird who stole the tablets of destiny from Enlil. These sacred tablets granted control over the universe, and when they were taken, chaos spread across creation. Only a brave god, often named Ninurta or Marduk, could restore them. Their battle became one of the earliest heroic epics, a timeless struggle between order and rebellion. As centuries passed, the Sumerian pantheon expanded into hundreds of gods ruling over stars, rivers, and cities. Babylonian scribes later retold these stories in the Enuma Elish, their creation epic, naming more than 300 deities. Many of their names remain carved on ancient clay tablets, some broken and incomplete, waiting to be understood. Archaeologists and linguists continue to piece together these fragments of lost divinity written in cuneiform form, the world's earliest script. Each tablet reveals the glimpse of how the Sumerians saw life, gods, and the invisible bond between them. Their language blending Sumerian, Akkadian, and Babylonian influences carried layers of meaning far beyond words. If you enjoyed this video, like and subscribe, and also click the next video shown on your